This is one of those presentations that is going to require viewers to think. Now, in just a minute, we're going to show you a video, but before we do that, let me just say this as a disclaimer. If you are a liberal, you may want to just go ahead and turn off this video because you're required to think. And if you're a liberal, you obviously don't think, otherwise you wouldn't be a liberal. So there's no point you even being here. But for the rest of us, before I show this video, I want to challenge you to think about this. Okay, you got this guy on the screen. And I call him a guy. Properly, he should be called a chap because he's in England. And this guy is in a shopping area. I say is, past tense. He was in a shopping area, and he was exercising his freedom of expression, along with some of his buddies. Then along comes this group of people who disagreed with him, and they expressed their opinions. So you have these two groups expressing their opinions that are contradictory. The question is this: who is arrested? Now you got to keep in mind that in Britain they have restrictions on free speech. If speech can be defined as hate speech, and I know that's kind of vague and ambiguous, but if speech can be defined as hate speech, then a person can be arrested. Okay, so you have these two groups. The one group is the chap on the screen and his other buddies who are Christian preachers, and the mob were apparently Muslim thugs. Now that helps define the situation a little more that will help you think. Who do you think was arrested for hate speech? Those who are expressing the Christian opinion or those who are expressing the Muslim opinion? Where were the arrests made? Which side of that fence do you think they were made on? Kind of a silly question because everybody obviously knows the answer even before we give it. Let's go over to the screen grab. This is dailymail.co.uk, otherwise known as dailymail.com. And this video is about 2 minutes long, so let's take a look at what happens.
To worship God. So simple for you dear sinners. The purpose of mankind is to worship God and enjoy Him. Oh, when you know God, you love Him and you love to obey His commands. I hate His commands once, like just like you did years ago. I remember what that mind frame is. It's like banging your head against a
Okay, it's kind of hard to tell what they're saying, but they're expressing their opinions that are obviously diverse. Now, liberals, as you know, believe in diversity. Yeah, when I put this on pause, you get all these funny things on the screen. But when liberals say they believe that diversity is our strength, they're not talking about diversity of speech, because they want to be the only ones who are heard. Okay, with that in mind, let's continue the video.
You can do nothing to go further than that.
Right, mate, listen. You're causing a disturbance now. You are not welcome. Go home.
Go home.
Okay, they are telling them to go home because they are not welcome. Now, is that not hate speech? I mean, if you were to tell a Muslim, go home, you are not welcome, that would be considered hate speech. But if you see a Muslim yelling, go home, you are not welcome, is that not hate speech? Should this guy not be arrested?
I'm detaining you. You with this person notice to move off the scene, not to come back in 4 hours. Okay? If you fail to do so, what is your name?
Michael.
Michael what?
Michael.
Okay, now what you see here is you see Muslims yelling at Christians in England, telling them to go home. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's hate speech.
Michael, yeah, you do. Because I'm going to give you a dispersion notice to leave the area.
I'm not going to leave the
Okay?
area.
If you fail to do so, you will be arrested. Okay?
I'm a policeman.
God so loved the world, guys.
Okay, what he said was, for God so loved the world. That apparently is hate speech because this guy is about to get arrested.
This year I'm going to be seizing.
Okay, so what you're seeing here is you are seeing Muslims cheering at an English Christian preacher being arrested in England.
Because of antisocial behaviour, so you need to protect him. You can show Why is he arrested? Because we've asked him to stop.
Okay, so that's pretty much all of the videos. So let's back up and take a look at some of the highlights of this article here. This is, again, dailymail.com or dailymail.co.uk, and the headline says, it kind of summarizes what we've been talking about. Evangelical Christian preachers confronted by angry mob after they shouted slogans about Muhammad and Allah face religious abuse trial. Free speech? No, it's hate speech because apparently you offended Muslims. Okay, now if those same Muslims exercised their free speech and shouted, "Go home," repeatedly, chanted, "Go home, go home," Muslims in England shouting at ethnic English preachers that they need to get out of the town square, you can't stand here and express yourself freely, you go home. That's not hate speech. But if you were to tell the Muslims to go home, go back where you came from, that would be free speech. Can somebody in England explain to me the difference? The chances are people from England would tell me one of two things. Number one, they would say, yeah, you know, this guy should not have been arrested for exercising his freedom of speech. It's not hate speech, you just tell him the truth. But if you're going to be consistent, you have to arrest both of them. No, and most people in England, I think, would agree with that. However, there's some other people in England that would not agree with it. I'd like to know what you think. So if you'd leave a comment in the comment section below and explain to me why it's okay to arrest a Christian ethnic English preacher in England for expressing himself freely, but it's not okay to arrest a mob of Muslims who are screaming and intimidating and bullying him and trying to shut him up, telling him to go home. You can't arrest them for free speech, or for hate speech, rather. It's kind of the same thing. How do you explain that? I mean, if you're a lunatic liberal living in Britain, and there are a few of them, how do you account for that? Okay, the bullet points are these. Police called to a shopping street after preachers ranted about other religions. Footage from the scene showed crowds cheering as one was led away. Don't mention that they were, most of the ones that we saw in the video were not ethnic British people. Actually, a lot of them were black. How did they get to England, by the way? Because when I was in England back in 1978, I didn't see any black people. I know they were there because I read about them, but now you see them everywhere. Where did they do? Just appear out of nowhere? Just wondering. 3 men now face trial over alleged religiously aggravated abuse. So if you disagree with somebody religiously and you express yourself, that's hate speech or religiously aggravated abuse. They insist that what they said is covered by laws protecting free speech. And if we scroll down here, we're not going to read a lot of this, but just so you get a little clearer context of what's going on. An angry mob of about 150 people surrounded 3 men on Broadmead, Bristol, after they told onlookers that being gay is immoral on July 6 last year. Okay, they believe that being gay is immoral, and they said so. That's hate speech because of what? Now, these guys are arrested because somebody thinks it's immoral to say that something is immoral. That's hypocritical. Okay, you think they're immoral for saying something is immoral. Well, didn't they just say it's immoral effectively by arresting them? Don't ask liberals. Their heads will explode. The 3 devoted Christians were using microphones and holding up placards before police intervened and arrested the men to cheers from onlookers. Okay, those arrested were Major Adrian Clark, 51, and evangelical Christian preachers Michael Overd, 52, from Creek St. Michael near Taunton, and American Michael Stockwell, 50, from Selden, New York. And they're all standing trial. Chances are he's going to be kicked out of the country because, he's an illegal alien. Okay, the Muslims bring them in by the hundreds of thousands and millions, but the Christian American, you're probably going to have to kick this guy out because he's a troublemaker. So it goes on to say that, and we'll just wind up with this, they deny using religiously aggravated, threatening, or abusive words or behavior. And we kind of saw what happened. Okay, so what is really going on here? You see this happy, smiling, nice, pleasant preacher, and now he's arrested because he expressed his freedom of expression. He expressed his viewpoints. Okay, and for that, he's going to jail. So what's going on here? Well, what we see is a 1-2 punch, and we're seeing this across Europe. Punch number one is they make it illegal to freely express yourself. Okay, once they got that in place, and everybody says, yeah, hate speech is evil. Okay, everyone agrees to that. Step number two is you open your borders to hordes, hundreds of thousands, millions of Islamic insurgents. And then somebody complains about it. But wait a minute. Remember earlier we passed those laws that said you can't say anything critical about these Islamic slugs who are invading your country. I wonder, okay, so you can't say anything critical about Islam because that would be considered hate speech. I wonder if the Nazis were to invade Britain and somebody were to say, I don't like these Nazis. I disagree with them. I wonder if that person were to be arrested if he went on a street corner, got out his megaphone and said, I don't like Nazis. I mean, would that not be hate speech? I'm just asking. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to share it on social media. Be grateful for the hate speech that you have, and one way to express your free speech is to help us distribute this video by sharing it. Also, don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section below. And if you'll take a look at the lower right-hand corner, you'll see a little red button that says subscribe. If you click on that, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. You may as well do it right now while you're thinking about it. Otherwise, you'll forget and you won't do it.
How to subscribe? Click subscribe. Click the bell. Check the box. Save.